God bless America. Hello, everybody. I am the Talk Radio Protege. This is the Protege program. I'm planning on this being a short video, just a revisiting somewhat of the marginal tax rates. I did a video recently on the 100% marginal tax rate scare tactic column that was published by the Wall Street Journal, I believe it was. And the example that they used, I kind of laughed at because they used the example of a guy, a fictitious lawyer in New Jersey who was earning six figures of income. And on the next $100 of income he was going to earn, it was going to cost him $5 in federal taxes. And I kind of laughed at that. I thought it was silly to talk about a guy making six figures losing $5 over federal income taxes. But after I published that video, I talked to my dad about the marginal tax rates to kind of see if he had any experience. And I thought he gave me a much better example of what the marginal tax rates mean and why they are important, why we talk about marginal tax rates. And I think his example is much, much better than the lawyer in New Jersey. So my dad got married while he was in college. He was working a small job. It was paying him a little bit, enough for my mom and dad to scrape by. He was doing some tutoring on the side, and in increments he would get raises on his salary. And he was working for the university. And as his income began to approach the next tax bracket, he began to not want a raise because he was afraid that when he made it to the next tax bracket, it was going to affect his income. And he was receiving small raises. It wasn't like, I don't have hard numbers for you, but suffice it to say that each raise was a small portion of his income. And when he finally did get the raise that ticked him over into the next tax bracket, he effectively got a take-home pay cut because the deductions that the university kept back from his salary to pay his income taxes increased more than the raise gave him in income. So the way that this worked out was that he actually got a pay cut. Now, when April rolled around the following year, he ended up getting all of that money back. He got a full refund on the taxes that he did pay, and it worked itself out in the end. But the problem comes in the fact that he ended up with a pay cut instead of a pay raise by the pay increase that the university gave him. And this is a problem for low-income situations. In situations where the marginal tax rate affects people that are already living paycheck to paycheck by reducing their income, that's where the big problems come in. That's where people really get concerned. So I thought it was, especially now in light of this example that I have, I thought it was not only hysterical but terribly out of touch for the Wall Street Journal to use an example of a man earning six figures to illustrate how the marginal income tax rate was going to be in excess of 100%. As far as whether or not that's going to affect low-income people in such a way that it's going to hurt them as they try to climb out of poverty, try to climb out of those low-income brackets, I do not know and really can't say. Which is why I still would like to talk about the way that I would overhaul the tax system in a way that I believe is not only more fair to the taxpayer especially, but also lightens the burden on the taxpayer as far as paying their taxes goes. So I brought up the definition of the marginal tax rate here just to shed some more light on what exactly marginal tax rates are. As you can see, the marginal tax rate is the amount of tax paid on an additional dollar of income. So even if the marginal tax rate on a single dollar was going to be in excess of 100%, the Wall Street Journal could have still published this story. The magnitude of these impacts of marginal tax rates can be laughably unimportant, as is the case with the New Jersey lawyer who gets a raise of $100 for whatever reason and ends up losing $5 of take-home pay. You know, that sounds silly. That's laughable. But what gets more serious is when it's going to affect people that are already living to paycheck to paycheck. Those are the instances where we do need to be careful. We do need to investigate carefully what impacts these things are going to have. If a person who's living off of $1,000 a paycheck gets a raise such that his federal taxes begins effectively making him take home $900 a paycheck, that would be a catastrophic failure of the marginal tax rate. And of course, that's a big exaggeration, but that's going to hurt that college student. You know, he gets a raise of $1,000 to X number of dollars, and he starts taking home, instead of $1,000, he starts taking home $950. You know, that's a tank of gas. That's a bag of groceries. That's significant for a college student living on $1,000. For a lawyer living in New Jersey who goes from $615,000 to $615,100 a year, whose income goes from $615,000 to $614,995 a year, that's insignificant. So I just wanted to do this video to shine a little light on the marginal tax rate, to demonstrate where the real concern needs to be. The real concern needs to be in the marginal cases that affect people who are already living paycheck to paycheck. In the marginal cases where a person who is living barely within their means is going to be affected by a marginal tax rate such that they are going to now not be able to make it, or that's going to increase the burden on that type of person, that's really where we need to be concerned about these marginal tax rates. Of course, this all goes away if we implement my dream version of the tax plan, but that's coming in a different video if there's sufficient demand for it. So let me know in the comments if that's a video that you want to see. And based on the traffic that I get in my comments, one comment will do. So thank you again for watching. Make sure that you subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, because the Alabama Senate race is over. We're going to be talking about those results later today, and you don't want to miss it. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, God bless.